So, let's talk about marriage. We're going to explore an idea that really challenges how a lot of us think about it. What if the biggest threat to a marriage isn't that you've stopped loving each other, but that your whole mindset has shifted? We're going to dig into this concept of sacred covenants and see what it tells us about building a partnership that can actually last. And it really all begins with this. This is such a powerful idea. The real breakdown of a marriage doesn't happen when the lawyers get involved. It happens way before that, in your head. It starts the moment a marriage stops being seen as this sacred thing and becomes, well, negotiable. The problem isn't always a failure of love, it's the loss of what we're calling covenant thinking. There's no promise anywhere that marriage is going to be a walk in the park, but there is the promise that it can be incredibly powerful. So in this explainer, we're going to try and unpack the principles that unlock that power. It's really about a total shift in thinking, getting away from this modern idea of convenience in relationships and turning toward a framework that's actually built for the tough times every single couple will face.
Okay, so let's dive right into the absolute foundation of this whole thing. This really gets to the heart of the matter. It's this core conflict between two totally different ways of seeing a marriage. Is it a covenant, or is it just a convenience?
So, what even is a covenant? It's way more than a contract. A contract protects your interests if things go wrong. But a covenant, drawing from what we see in Malachi, is a sacred, binding promise made with God as the witness. That means it's a commitment designed to hold up no matter how your feelings or your circumstances change. It's built to last.
And this slide really breaks down the difference in the real world. A convenience mindset is all about what am I getting out of this? So when things get tough, the impulse is to look for the exit. But a covenant mindset is rooted in commitment. It asks, what did I promise to do? So instead of collapsing when the pressure is on, it makes you fight for the relationship. It pushes you to rebuild what's been damaged. One is built for an easy out. The other is built for life.
All right, building right on that foundation of commitment, our second principle really pushes back against this idea that love is just a feeling that happens to us. This viewpoint reframes love not as some passive emotion, but as an active, deliberate choice you make every single day.
Now, this statement is meant to be a little shocking, and for a good reason. We always hear 1 Corinthians 13, love is patient, love is kind, at weddings, right? When everyone's feeling all warm and fuzzy. But this perspective argues that's not what it's for. Its real purpose is for the trenches of marriage, for the arguments, the misunderstandings, the hard times. It's not a romantic poem. It's a battle plan. So what does that battle plan actually look like? Well, here it is. It's about choosing to be patient when you are feeling anything but patient. It's about practicing kindness even when your feelings are screaming at you not to. According to this view, love isn't just about what you feel. It's about what you do. It's a conscious decision to act in a loving way, especially when it's the absolute hardest thing to do. So all this intentional action, it leads us right into our third principle. This is all about making that shift from an I, me, my mentality to a we, us, our mentality. It's inspired by that idea in Genesis of two people becoming one.
This sounds so simple, but man, it can be totally revolutionary in a marriage. It is so easy when you're in a disagreement to start seeing your partner as the person you have to defeat. This principle asks for a radical change in how you see things. The problem is the enemy, not your spouse. You're on the same team, trying to solve it together.
And here's how that plays out. When your ego is driving, every disagreement becomes a battle to prove you're right. The goal is just to win the argument. But when you're focused on unity, that same problem becomes a shared assignment. The goal isn't to win, the goal is to protect your connection, to protect the oneness of your marriage. Okay, on to our fourth principle, and this one is huge. It presents forgiveness not as some nice-to-have option, but as an absolute requirement for the health of a marriage. It's not just for healing, it's literally for survival. Think about it. Unforgiveness is like keeping a scorecard of every single mistake, every hurt, and eventually the weight of that scorecard will crush a relationship. But forgiveness, like we're encouraged to do in Colossians, is the act of wiping that slate totally clean. It's an active choice to let it go, because you can't move forward and heal if you're holding on to the past. So, we've talked about covenant, action, unity, and forgiveness. But what holds all of that together? Our final principle is the anchor. It's the source of strength that makes all the other stuff possible. And it's all about keeping God at the absolute center of the relationship. This verse from Ecclesiastes gives us such a powerful picture for this. Two cords woven together are pretty strong. But when you weave in a third cord, that bond becomes incredibly hard to break. In this view, God is that third cord.
He provides a strength that goes way beyond what a couple can create on their own, especially when they're up against it.
You know, marriages rarely just implode out of nowhere. It's usually a slow, almost unnoticeable drift. And this perspective suggests that drift starts the moment God's role in the marriage goes from being essential to being optional. When that central cord starts to loosen, the whole relationship just becomes that much more fragile.
So let's wrap it up. A marriage that can withstand anything is built on a foundation of covenant, not convenience. It's actively cared for by choosing to love, it's kept alive through forgiveness, and the whole thing is anchored by keeping God right in the middle of it all.
And that really leaves us with one last big question to think about. It's not just about how you feel today or what your circumstances are. It's about the fundamental mindset you bring to your relationship. Is it a temporary contract, something based on feelings and convenience? Or is it a sacred, unbreakable covenant built to last a lifetime?